Joining me now is Liberal MP Tim Wilson. Thanks so much for your time. It's a bit of an auspicious day. It's the first sitting day of Parliament. The Parliament doesn't quite sit, but you're all back in Canberra. Not a great way to start 2020, is it?
Well, I think, you come into this job looking to try and do the best in the best interest of the Australian people. And so, there's always going to be colour and light in politics. There's going to be things at times of year you don't predict and you don't want. And, of course, I could think of other ways you might want to start the year, but this is the way we're starting, and our focus is to get back on and do what we need to do to deliver for the Australian people, deliver a strong economy, jobs and opportunity for the next generation.
The Morrison government, after 10 years of instability at a leadership level for both parties, promised stability and honesty. In the last couple of weeks, we haven't seen that. Do you think voters have got the honesty we deserve when it comes to the sports rorts saga?
Now, I have to take exception to that comment. I mean, the reality is, for the past couple of weeks, the media, through a pathway of scrutiny, has obviously been paying particular attention to the Deputy Leader of the National Party, calling on for her to resign. She's resigned. You can't then turn around and complain about the fact that she's resigned, and obviously that will lead to a ballot for Deputy Leader.
No, but why should it be up to the media? It's only because of the media uncovering this gun club membership that she's gone, because apparently, according to the Prime Minister and according to his own department secretary, the other things, the sports rorts scandal, were not sackable offences. That's correct, isn't it?
Well, it's up to the media to hold us accountable. That's the nature of a liberal democracy. There are people in positions of power and responsibility, and they need to be held to account by the Parliament, which the Parliament hasn't sat during this period, obviously, and also by the media. And so what's happened is exactly what should happen, to apply scrutiny. And we all get it from time to time. So I don't understand why you'd think it wasn't the job of the media or anybody else to do that.
Well, the Auditor General's report didn't seem to do the job. Why should it not be? Why do you ignore the Auditor General? Why does it take media pressure?
I don't think that's an accurate analysis. I mean, the Auditor General did an analysis looking at the grants program and, raised a series of flags that they questioned various components of the handling and the conduct. But in the end, all the projects were eligible under the program. And then the allocations around different parts of it, they raised questions about. But in the end, money went to electorates to make sure that sports infrastructure could be built to help people, whether it was women's in their changing room. In electorates like mine, it was to make sure there was proper lighting at football and netball facilities. Those are the sorts of programs that I think Australians want to see government deliver, that actually practically improves their lives on the ground.
But hang on, the Auditor General's report says there was evidence of distribution bias in the award of grant funding. That's different to what you've just said.
No, that's not different to what I've just said. I mean, the Auditor General report, I said, raised a series of questions about it, but since I haven't seen the actual allocation and don't actually have the spreadsheet, it's pretty hard for me to comment beyond acknowledging what the Auditor General has raised, addressing it, and obviously the Minister has taken action as a consequence of the fullness of these recent events and has been held accountable. Can
you still achieve a budget surplus with the bushfire crisis and now the coronavirus?
Well, I don't think anybody's under any illusion that the economic challenges that we now face are quite serious, obviously as a consequence of not just bushfires, not just the coronavirus, but of course the drought that preceded it. And what the government is doing is being prudent in its approach, both before these events and now, to do everything it can to ensure the budget is in healthy shape as it can be. And this actually just highlights, while people like Ed Husic and many of the Labor Party talk about budget surpluses as vanity projects, what they are is forms of insurance to make sure that when headwinds come, the country's in the strongest position and the best position to respond to them. Now, we look at things like the coronavirus. They're very serious events. They could have significant impacts on sectors like tourism and education, where many Australians are employed. And one of the critical things about having a budget that is in balance and trending towards surpluses, so we can confront those challenges head on.
Well, the very point that you make is one where perhaps we shouldn't be in surplus come budget time. Is this a time where that money would be better used as stimulus?
Well, this is all speculation. We don't actually know the current situation because we're not at the end of the financial year. But what the government has already done, because we've been in a stronger budgetary position, is able to roll out funding to particularly bushfire-affected communities that wouldn't have otherwise existed if you took a profligate approach towards the budget. So this is an endorsement of the approach of Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg to make sure that the country is in the strongest position to respond to these unexpected events, including where there's a confluence and multiple of them come at the same time.
OK, well, we will see what the RBA decides tomorrow. That will be a little bit of an indication on the health of our economy. Tim Wilson, always good to talk to you. Thanks for your time.